Greetings, everybody. I'm going to get this microphone a little bit closer. Happy New Year. And let's get back to Phaladeepika. So, we probably are going to finish the treatment about the signs. We're probably going to finish Mantreshwar's initial discussion of the signs today. And then the next thing will be the houses. So let me review quickly and remind you of what he's doing. Essentially what he's doing is grouping the signs into groups of 4, 3, 2, and 1 and explaining them that way. Besides the section where he talks about the which planets are related to which signs, how the planets are related to the signs. He had a brief section on that where he explained which planets own which signs, which is super important to understanding a sign, and then which planets are exalted and debilitated where, etc., and the mula tricon. He has that little section, and then he does this 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. The 1 bit means like one sign per hour, or there's one thing that all the signs relate to. Like, you remember that was the first thing we talked about. How do the signs relate to the human body? Well, Aries is the head, Taurus is the face, etc. Or how do the signs relate to the earth, places on the earth? Well, Aries is the wild, uninhabited mountains, and Taurus is the farmland, etc. That's what I mean by 1s. By 4s, there was only one thing that he mentioned, which is odd because when you think of 4s, you should think of earth, water, fire, air, and earth, water, fire, and air. In the zodiac order, it's air. Not in the zodiac order, it's fire, earth, air, water. So he didn't actually mention those elements by name. That's an interesting bit. Instead, he gave us a group of 4 called Urdhva, Adha, Sama, Vakra, which means up, down, level, and crooked. So fire signs make the energy go up. Earth signs make the sun's energy go up, which just means make the sign's energy goes up. The earth energy pulls it down, makes it heavier. The air's energy doesn't affect it; it lets it be what it is. And the water's energy makes it wavy, makes it fluctuate. So that's the nature of fire, earth, air, and water signs in a roundabout way. And that, I believe, is the only way that he groups signs into 4. Then, as far as grouping signs into 3, there were 1 or 2 that we had already talked about. Especially the one that we spent the most time trying to figure out was ascending, descending, and equivocating. Prishtodaya, Shirshodaya, and Upodaya. The rising, the forwards, the backwards, and the equal signs. That's one way of grouping it into 3. Then let's catch some other ones today. So he says he does mention although he didn't mention earth, water, fire, air, which we're used to with the 4s. With the 3s, he does mention cardinal, fixed, and dual. So, and it's the typical grouping: Aries, cardinal, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, cardinal. And then you just rotate that square 1. So instead of 1, 4, 7, and 10, Aries 1, Cancer 4, Libra 7, Capricorn 10, you just add +1 to each one. 2, 5, 8, and 11. So that means Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. Those are the fixed signs. And then you +1 to all those numbers. And you get all the dual signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So he mentions those. But he gives a quick description of the character. He says that cardinal signs, which are called chada in Sanskrit, they move. It's their nature is to move. So a cardinal sign wants to go somewhere, wants to do something. And the reason for that is when the sun comes past a waypoint, when the sun comes past a tropos, which is a solstice or an equinox, it enters into a new quadrant. It's past a key marker, so it begins a new journey. So for example, when the sun hits Cancer, then it's at the highest point, so it's beginning a new journey into a descent. When it gets to Libra, now it's beginning a new journey to cross the horizon. When it gets to Capricorn, and it's getting a new journey to begin again, moving towards the equinox. It's now approached its apex also, descended apex. And then when you get to the other equinox, Aries, again, it's cardinal. It begins something new. So cardinal signs are new. They like new things. They want new things. They move. They start new things. And he says the fixed signs, which are called sthira, they stay. They don't move, they stay. Because they're the second sign in each quadrant. After the sun has passed the tropos, it's done passing a tropos. Tropos means a waypoint, an equinox or a solstice. It's done passing an equinox or a solstice, and it just stays. It keeps doing the same thing. It keeps going in that quadrant. And then I can't even remember. Somebody could maybe remind me in the comments what these are called in. What are these called in English in Western astrology? The Dvisvabhav signs, which I always translated as dual-natured. And then I actually forgot what they call them mutable, don't they? They call them mutable. Oh yeah, here we go. The mutable signs are called dual because they do both. They go a little bit towards new things, but they also like to stay a little bit on track with old things. So they go back and forth. They don't really do either. The reason for that is they're the third sign in each quadrant. It's as they're approaching a new solstice. So they're keeping on track to finish the solstice, but they're also approaching a new one. So they have a third type of nature, which is finishing something old, but also starting something new. So they do both. So the cardinal signs move, they go to new things. The fixed signs, they stay. They stay with the older thing. And the dual signs, they try to do both at the same time. So that's the main group of three. Got that? Thank you, Elisa. Now, so the Sanskrit word dvi is more telling than the modern current English usage of mutable and mutable. Mutable means you can change it easy. Fixed and cardinal signs can't really be changed so well. They don't change. They keep their character all the time. They have a constant character. Where the character for the cardinal signs is always interested in new goal, a big goal. Cardinal for a fixed sign is always interested in maintaining something, sticking with something. The character for a dual sign is mutable as it changes. But I like the Sanskrit term much better. Dvi, it's dual. It does both. Sometimes it feels interested in new things, sometimes it feels interested in old things. Now, these three have further characteristics. Similarly, how we talked about male and female before and how they had extended characteristics of solar, lunar, and day and night. Similarly, the cardinal, fixed, and dual signs have extended characteristics that Mantreshwar is going to reveal. So he talks about them in terms of places. He gives them a spatial element, because it really is the whole thing about the signs, that this would be called a quadruplicity in Western astrology. The whole thing about the signs, I call it mode. The whole thing about the signs mode is based on how it's moving into a zone, right? There's 4 zones in the zodiac defined by the 4 points, 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. So the whole thing about the mutability is how the sun moves into a zone. So Mantreshwar says you extend that metaphor and you'll understand how the sign approaches anything. So he says the cardinal signs are the entry to places and therefore the beginning of things. That's why cardinal signs like to start things, but they have more trouble finishing. They like to start, and they stay at the entry of things. They're all about the beginning, because that's what it is. It's the sun entering into the quadrant. The fixed signs, they represent the exit of things. So they're the opposite of the cardinal signs. They represent finishing something. And then there's the dual sign, which represents the interior of the thing, the middle of the thing, the actual thing itself. He doesn't say anything, probably to your disappointment, he doesn't say anything about Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. Here's his big Vedic astrology from the 14th century. He doesn't mention Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. But that's what this is. Beginning of something is Rajas. It's passion. You just get things started. Finishing something is Tamas. You bring it to a conclusion. You make it solid and real. Tamas means opaque. It becomes tangible. Tamas, tangible. And dual signs are Sattva, because they are the real thing. They're the thing itself. They're not the beginning or the end of it. They're the thing itself, which has both a beginning and an end. So that way also, with physicality, the cardinal signs are at the entrance to things. The fixed signs represent the exit of things, and the Dvisvabhav represent the thing itself, the interior of the thing. Okay. Hey guys. What do I think of tarot? It's cool. It's completely different than astrology. And I don't like when people... No, it's not like I don't like it, but myself personally, astrology is a systematic thing without an element of chance or divine intervention or something. Tarot relies on divine intervention to put the right cards in front of you, or to let you understand the cards the right way, which is less of an issue in astrology. Astrology is more scientific. It's more systematic and rationally explainable. And if you can't understand how somebody would say astrology is rational, buy my book, The Beautifully Rational Philosophy of Astrology. Okay, so cardinal signs have the nature of moving, staying, or trying to move and stay. The second nature, cardinal, fixed, and dual. The second thing they have is entering, the beginning, the end, the ending, or the middle, which is also entering, exiting, and being inside. And then they have this other thing that he mentions, which is Dhatu, mula, jiva. The cardinal signs are Dhatu, the fixed signs are mula, and the dual signs are jiva. So Dhatu means a building block. In language, the verbal root, like bu, is called a dhatu. And you can make different words out of the word bu. You can make bhava and bhava. Bu just means exist. Bhava means your existence. Bhava means a result of your existence. So the root of something is called its dhatu. Very similar to mula, which means root. So it's a little complex. The root or the building block of something is the dhatu. So also molecules and atoms and bricks, things that you build with, building materials, they're called dhatus. So dhatu really refers to something physical and solid, like a stone, like a metal. The cardinal signs are dhatu because they're trying to build new things. And so they like dhatus. They like resources. They want to build a building. They need bricks. They like the building blocks. They like to acquire the building blocks for things because they're very interested in the beginning, the new, the entrance of things. So they get a lot of the preparations They need the preparations. They need the building blocks. So cardinal signs are associated with Dhatu, which means building blocks. They want resources. And resources might not always be physical. Like a skill or a talent is also a Dhatu for success. Right? So you'll find cardinal signs have a lot of ambition to take classes or enroll in training and stuff like that. They like to enroll in training, but they might not do anything with the training after it's done. Or they might not finish the training. They might go on. A person that's really overly cardinal and mixed with dual. They'll start something and not finish it and go because they're going to the next too quickly. So that's Dhatu, always trying to acquire the requirements for stuff. The fixed signs are something called, I wonder if data is like that. I doubt it. Fixed signs are mula. Now, mula means the root, or what mula really means is the foundation of something. The tree's foundation is its roots. So mula always refers to something that's below you. The most famous thing that you know of named mula is the constellation Mula. The reason why that constellation is named Mula, the way that we know it is it's the tail of the scorpion. They don't think that it's the Indians don't see it as the tail of a scorpion. They see it as a basin or a bowl, and that basin or bowl is very south. It's very far south from the ecliptic. South meaning down. So celestial south is celestial downward. So Mula, that basin of stars down there is the foundation. Mula means the thing that's below you, the thing that holds you up, the foundation, the root, your root. And this is what the sthira, or the fixed signs, like. The cardinal signs, they like Dhatu, they like resources. The fixed signs, they like stability, they like a base, they like a foundation. So that's what they're into. They seek stability, duration, and depth. Those are all the implications of the word mula. They don't really reach out or extend themselves. They dig down. That's the nature of the mula thing. Dhatu, mula. Dhatu is out seeking treasure, getting dhatu, getting resources. Mula, fixed signs, they're not going out seeking treasure. They're trying to get deeper and stronger and more solid and more durable. Then you have the dual signs, which are the sattvic ones, right? The sattvic ones are, and this also matches the rajas, tamas, sattva. The dhatu person is rajasic, is trying to acquire resources. The sthira person, what are they called? The fixed signs, they are tamasic. They're just trying to get deeper and stronger and heavier. They're trying to get more tamas, means solidity, opaqueness. The dvi signs, the dual signs, they're called jiva. That's the sattvic element. Jiva means to breathe. Something which breathes is jiva, something which is alive. So the dvi signs are life signs. The cardinal signs, the dual signs are life signs. The cardinal signs are resource signs. This is what he's really saying. They like to gather resources. The fixed signs are rooting signs. They like to get stability. The dual signs, they're living signs. What do they like to do? They like to live. They like to breathe. So they are the kind of be here now type of concept. They like to experience things. They don't care about getting resources or getting deeper. They don't have goals, big goals that they're working for, or big things that they're trying to maintain. They are the experience. They're trying to experience life. They want to live, and also they want to breathe. It means they want a bit of freedom. So those are the way that Mantreshwar groups signs into three. Mostly they're on the nature of cardinal, fixed, and dual. And he says cardinal, fixed, and dual, and that has the gathering, rooting, or living side to it. It has the beginning, middle, and end side to it, beginning, end, and middle. And it has, what was the first one? That's it. And the very nature of it itself is moving, staying, or moving and staying. And then another way of grouping it into three is relative to the equinoxes, whether you're ascending to an apex or descending from an apex. And that one we covered extensively in 2 other classes. So any questions there? We have the signs in groups of 2 to talk about now as well. Is cardinal more masculine in nature? It is. It is. So therefore, the signs which are male by their gender, and then which are the fire male signs, which is Leo and Aries. And they're all male signs. All fire signs are male. All cardinal signs. So Aries, fire is also super male, by the way, but cardinality is super male. So the most cardinal is Aries. Antonio Cesar Ramos, Hare Krishna. All right, now let's look at the groups of 2. The basic grouping of 2 is into male and female. So the simple principle is, if a sign, you count signs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A sign which is odd is male. Men are odd. And the sign which is even is female. 1 male, 2 female, 3 male, 4 female. That's the Mithuna thing that we talked about when we were looking at Sanskrit. Mithuna means Gemini, but Mithuna means couple, gendered couple, male female couple. And so the Samithuna Atavat means counting the zodiac signs in pairs. We discussed that previously. Now he just says when you're counting zodiac signs, all the odd numbered ones are masculine, and all the even numbered ones are feminine. Now he's going to talk about some things. He already talked about this when he talked about the day and the night issue, the sun and moon issue. He said that male signs are like, they're solar and daylightish. They're daytimey, which means they go out, they come out, they become visible. Female signs are lunar and nocturnal. That's because female is about going in, male is coming out. Just look at the genitals. Males go out, females go in. Masculinity is extroverting and femininity is introverting. So nighttime is a reflective time. It's not a time when you're going out and doing things. It's a mysterious time. It's a time when you wonder about things. Daytime is time when you work, you get stuff done. You go out and you get stuff done. So the men, they get stuff done. They go out, they work, blah, 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 blah. The women, they think. They wonder. So female signs have a nature of being moonish and being nightish, and male signs have a nature of being sunnish and being dayish, and that shows you the basic nature. The basic difference is male signs are oriented outward. That's why cardinal has a masculine flavor to it, and fixed sort of has a feminine flavor to it. That's why Taurus is very feminine. Actually, but Taurus doesn't go over the top like Aries because Earth is mildly feminine. Water is hyper feminine. So now here's another thing that he's going to mention now. He's going to talk about Kura and somnia, which we call malefic and benefic. The Western astrology language uses the terms malefic and benefic, which are terrible terms, very misleading terms. But, that's what we got. That's what we work with. So maybe there'll come a day when it'll switch to harsh and gentle. The older language used for that concept revealed that the original concept of malefic and benefic wasn't bad and good, male meaning bad and benet meaning good, but tough and soft, or harsh and soft. The harsh ones are Kura, harsh, and the soft ones are somnia. So the female signs, every female sign, it's very simple. It's the same. It's just another aspect of femininity is somyata, and an aspect of masculinity is krurata. Men are muscular, and they have physical power, and they crush, kill, and destroy. And hopefully they crush, kill, and destroy the right stuff, the dangerous stuff, or the dangerous animals, or the invaders, or whatever. Women, they don't crush, kill, and destroy. They can't crush, kill, and destroy. It's really tough for a woman to crush, kill, and destroy. What do? They do the opposite. They nurture, they bring to life, they grow things. Stri. That's what stri means. The nurturer, the grower, the bringer to life. So the feminine nature is benefic. The masculine nature is malefic. M-A-L-E. Malefic, male. Male. So maybe the original, I don't know Latin or anything, so maybe the original etymology in malefic and benefic wasn't really bad and good, but it was more like strict or harsh or tough versus soft. So signs which are female will be more generous, forgiving, nurturing, patient. And signs which are male will be more strict, tough, and have muscle. They'll have muscle to them. They'll have like the raw physical power to them. So since this is also a breakdown which is applied to the planets, this is the same thing. The same terminology is used for planets in the same way. The so-called malefic planets aren't evil planets. They're tough planets. They're strict planets. They tend to be male. Mars and the Sun, and Saturn, which is technically a female but acts like a male. And then the benefic planets, they're not good versus bad. They're just gentle and soft and nourishing, and that's Venus and Jupiter and Mercury, who's technically a man but acts like a woman, and Jupiter, who's technically a man but is more thoughtful. So that's a nice side point again, is the way that the original astrologers thought of malefic and benefic isn't bad and good. It's harsh versus gentle. Good cop, bad cop. But not like good and bad, like harsh cop, gentle cop. And let me know if you have any questions about that stuff. Then there's Mantreshwar mentions another interesting thing. He says this is the basic binary for male female. It's just odd and even numbers in the signs. But he says there's one more which you can overlay onto it, which is not intrinsic to the signs themselves. It's temporary. It's circumstantial. But he says whatever signs are below the horizon take a feminine nature, and whatever signs are above the horizon take a masculine nature. So in a given chart, let's say if you're born when Aries is rising, then the 2nd through the 6th signs, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, will be under the ground. And then the 8th through the 12th signs, Scorpio through Pisces, will be above the ground. So even though Scorpio is a feminine sign, in an Aries rising chart, it's not as feminine. It has because it's in the sky, so it also has a masculine element. Or even though Leo is a masculine sign, in an Aries rising chart, it's below the ground, so it's not 100% masculine. So he mentions that too. Because below the horizon equals night, and above the horizon equals day. And so because day is male and night is female. If the sign is in the nighttime zone, then even if it's a male sign, it has some quirk of femininity to it. And even if it's in the daytime zone, even if it's a female sign, it has a masculine quirk or a masculine subtext or outer layer or something like that. That's it. We covered it all. Got any questions? The next thing that we'll do is look at the houses. Mantreshwar will start to explain the houses. Sebastian, your comment got censored by the YouTubers. Wow, Vidura and Lakshmana. Tell them I'm super happy to hear their names again. Let me scroll back. To the last place I see. Avonor asks, what is the most feminine zodiac sign? Well, let's see. This is actually very interesting, because if you ask me what's the most masculine zodiac sign, it's really easy to give you an answer in a second. Aries. And it's also the reason why I say it's very interesting is because if you look at IQ test results, which is not necessarily the most perfect test in the world, everybody knows it's not a perfect test, but it's a very well done test, and it's very widely used, so you have a lot of data related to it. If you look at IQ tests, you find that women score higher than men on average, but the highest scores and the lowest scores belong to men. So men have a more erratic nature. There's less of a median with men. There's less normalcy to men when it comes to the IQ results, which reflects everything about them. So when it comes to the females, they have a more steady, higher nature, but they can't really get to the peaks that an exceptional male gets to, nor can they get to the low point that an exceptionally bad male gets to. So that's also reflected in the nature of the zodiac signs. Like if you ask me what's the most extreme male sign, it's so easy. It's really extreme. Aries is so extreme. It's fire, Cardinal, and Mars. The most masculine planet, the most masculine element, and the most masculine mode. But when you ask me what's the most feminine side, it's harder because they're more even. You got Taurus, which, wow, maybe it seems like a good candidate because it's Venus and fixed, but it's Earth. Earth is mildly feminine. You got Cancer. It's the moon and water. Water is very, very feminine. The moon is quite feminine. But it's Cardinal, which is masculine. Virgo, again, Mercury is not particularly strong on any gender, nor is the Earth element. Then the next one is number 8, Scorpio. Sorry, got Mars in there with the water. 10, Capricorn. Really? You're going to have Saturn be extremely gendered? No. Besides its Earth element. 12, Pisces. It has a male ruler, but it has a dual nature, which really is more feminine. One way of looking at it really is that Cardinal and fixed are actually masculine. And dual is actually the feminine one. So it's got water and it's got the dual element, but it's got Jupiter. So they don't really, none of the female zodiac signs really reach that extreme peakiness that the males do. But I would say it's probably Pisces in my opinion. Runner-up Cancer, runner-up Taurus. What can one do when one of their sign types is imbalanced? You just learn about the nature of it. like he's saying, let's say if you have a cardinal imbalance, then you're going to be too much Dhatu and too much entrance to things. So you just be aware of it. Knowledge is the cure to all problems. All of the problems are based on avidya or non-knowledge. So once you get knowledge about your situation, then you can begin to work with it. Before you have knowledge about it, you can't. And how do you work with it? It's so simple. You just be practical. If your astrology shows that you have an imbalance of cardinal signs, then learn about what the cardinal represents and look for it in your life, and don't be imbalanced with it. Now you say, but I can't, it's so hard. Yeah, you're working out, you're exercising, you're trying to do something which isn't natural. You're pushing yourself to change. So stick at it, and then it will become natural. Bardo asks, male, female actually simply translates into owned by the sun, owned by the moon. It simply translates into solar, lunar. Honestly, when you look for a reason why the first sign is male, the second sign is female, third sign is male, fourth sign is female, if you look really carefully, I believe, well, when I looked really carefully, my conclusion that I came to is that it comes down to the elements. Masculinity and femininity is rooted in the zodiac element, where you have, which is conspicuously absent from Mantra Shore's description, but your fire is very male and water is very female. Every fire sign is male, every water sign is female. Then you have earth, which is mixed but primarily female, and you have air, which is mixed but primarily male. And sure enough, every earth sign is female and every air sign is male. So it really comes, because the 1-2 thing, the odd and even thing, doesn't really have any meaningful reality in physical space. It's a byproduct. The elements things has a meaningful reality because it's related to east, west, north, and south, as I've explained in other videos. The east is fire, the west is air, the south or below you is the earth, and up is the water, north is the water. And then the trines from those take the elements, and that's how you get the elements everywhere. That's what I believe about what the root is of the male-female nature of the signs. I think it has to do with the elements. Cancer is feminine, but cardinal, how that works is how that works. What are you? Gokulendradas, so you're a male. So you have no capacity. Female take things in, male puts things out. You have no capacity to take things in. If you are 100% male, you have no capacity to take things in. You only can put things out. And if you're 100% female, all you can do is take in. You cannot put out anything. You cannot give out any energy. You can only take in energy. And if you're 100% male, you cannot take in energy. You can only give out energy. Is anybody or anything 100% male or 100% female? Of course not. Everything is a polarity between the two, with some kind of balance between it. So why would you be surprised that zodiac signs would... There's only one sign, really, Aries, that's just like almost 100% male. It's 100% male Aries, but it has amshas to it. So within Aries, you'll get well, you won't get Pisces, but you'll get Cancer. See, this is another reason why Pisces could be considered more female than the others. It's not in Aries. You'll get Cancer, you'll get Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, and even Scorpio inside Aries. And then in the Dashamshas, you'll get all kinds of, in the Dwadashamshas, you can even get a Pisces inside of Aries. So that's why the signs are no thing in zodiac, in astrology, even in astrology, which is really symbolically caricatured in the individual elements. You never get 100% female. The closest you'll get is Mars 100% male. and Venus 100% female. What about nakshatras and the cusp of signs? I don't know. What nakshatras have nothing to do with the cusp of signs. The cusp of signs, Mantreshwar mentioned before. It was one of his opening statements. He said the border between signs is a bit difficult because when the planet is there, it has to think about changing its environment. So it's a bit difficult for the planet to be right on the border of a sign. And he said, especially if it's right on the border of Aries or Leo. Actually, he said right if it's at the end of Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, which is, you could just say right at the beginning of Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. In other words, if it's at the end of a water sign or at the beginning of a fire sign, it's in a tough transition because it's transitioning from water to fire, the most extremely different elements. So really, the thing about borders of signs is the planet is changing. It has to change its situation, and that's not easy. And what this thing of Gandanta means, which is an artificially exaggerated importance, and has nothing to do with nakshatras. It has to do with the zodiac elements going from earth to going from water to fire. Okay, more questions. Yeah, so also Vincent says men have the need to be in the top of the hierarchy, but that's because men they put energy out, right? The male nature is out. So the male finds it very easy to give orders. The male finds it very easy to make statements and give directives. A woman doesn't find it easy to do that. It's not natural for a woman to do that. So men gravitate towards the roles where they're telling other people what to do. Hence the concept of mansplaining. Even when you're not qualified to tell somebody else what to do, because it's your nature to always be telling somebody something, that's what happens. So that's why you find the louder voices in history and the figures which were more visible were men, because the males are solar in daytime, and they come out and they get seen and they be loud, they give orders, they give instructions, they get known. It leads to the misconception that the male, well, we know about Hipparchus and all these ancient Greek men, but how many great ancient Greek female scientists were there? Well, we don't know because they didn't write books. They probably just talked to their husbands, but they probably talked to Hipparchus about the things and told Hipparchus where he was not thinking straight. So that's another interesting thing about male, female, and the way that the signs will work. The female signs will be more quiet, and the male signs will be more loud. Gemini is a male sign. It's not a female sign. Bardo wants to know if female signs have more balance of female male in their nature. Yeah. What's the chromosome for female? Is it XY? Yeah, even if you look in hormones, forget chromosomes too. It's the female has kind of a balance of the hormones, but the male is just overridden by the testosterone hormone. If a chart has 100% Mars as most significant planet, then Ketu and Saturn third, do they override the Sun, Moon? I have this question is so specific. I can't even look at it. Well, I don't know anything about Chinese astrology. Hello, Hashiguchi-san. What do you think about the opinion that signs in a native... whenever I scroll, the whole thing goes crazy. What do you think about the opinion that signs in a native chart express the superficial side, but the core of psyche is more nakshatrally? This is all bullshit. This is all marketing crap. hey, all the stuff that you know about right now, that's just superficial, but this cool new report or app or whatever I have that I'm going to sell you right now, that's going to tell you the real stuff. That's marketing. That's bullshit. Nakshatras tell you superficial or circumstantial and deep or dharmic stuff. So does science. Depends on what house you're looking at, what planet you're looking at, and what context you're reading it in. You see, so Sebastian makes an interesting concept. Tell a woman of this generation that. I can't remember, don't know what he's referring to, but no, I'm not saying that women go inside. I'm saying that femininity goes inside, and I'm saying you won't find a purely feminine being in existence. You can't even find it in the zodiac. Maybe Venus. If you had 100% femininity, you would die. If you had 100% masculinity, you would die. You wouldn't function. Your body would break. It would be like women have testosterone, men have estrogen. Um, if you didn't, your body would break. You cannot survive without both. The question is what the balance is and what the predominance is. You can't just say that's why women should just be quiet and listen because they're internalizing. Yeah, every woman has some amount of masculinity to her, just like every man has some amount of femininity. Otherwise, a man would never be able to learn anything. If you can't take stuff in, then how do you learn anything? And if you can't put stuff out, then how do you have a baby? The woman puts out the most amazing thing in the world, the baby. But I mean, most of it is being developed inside after taking in. She develops it inside and then puts it out. The male and female is present in both, and you have to respect that. You have to respect that there isn't just two things, male and female, and everybody's either one or the other. There are two ends of the spectrum, and everybody is somewhere in between. And you can get a man that really doesn't feel like telling people what to do, and doesn't feel like being the boss of the house, and doesn't feel like being having shouldering the responsibilities of having them making the money and doing all that crap and setting up the rules, but wants to be loving and nurturing and artistic. And you can have a woman who doesn't want to have babies and a home and doesn't care about a family. She wants to go out. She has big ambitions. If you can't respect that fact, then your brain is so binary and stupid. It's so black and white, and you cannot possibly comprehend why there's 12 zodiac signs, or 7 planets, or 9 planets. Well, there should just be 2 of everything for you if that's the way you think. So please don't misconstrue anything from astrology to support any archaic, gender illiterate, individuality illiterate points of view. Like Maria said, if you have a woman with the moon in Aries, all of my women in my family, um, they're not gonna just be happy not being respected for being able to tell you what to do. You better give them some space to make some decisions and tell you what to do. Where does Rahu Ketu stand in the gender category? Well, um, this isn't. This is yeah. This is in Phaladeepika. At some point, he's going to explain the gender of the planets. Yeah, we haven't heard about planets yet, but it's going to be very interesting. You'll see how he puts it. It's going to be weird. All right, guys. So that'll be it for today. Thursday is Thursday's live stream is the conclusion, the concluding blessings really for the Prithu story from the Bhagavatam. And then next Tuesday, we'll begin exploring Phaladeepika's presentation of houses. So thank you very much.